Hi, everybody. Welcome to
Hello.
podcast episode 17. I'm Vanessa, Knitty-Witch on Instagram and Ravelry.
And I'm Diane. I'm Freedom for You on Ravelry and the Knotted Bag on Instagram and Etsy. Welcome.
Perfect. Welcome.
Yes. So we have slowed down our recording schedule because just life and
we're just not knitting fast enough for it to be anything to show.
Yeah.
Which is actually not true because I've actually done a lot of knitting. I just don't have a lot to show for it.
You've done a lot of unknitting too.
I've done a lot of unknitting. So we can talk about that in a second. What you got?
So I have a finished item. A finished object. Oh, I said it wrong. Oh, by the way, I finally washed my t-shirt. You know, that pink t-shirt? I've washed it. It's taking forever to dry. Remember I had that issue with the stitches were on an angle?
Yeah.
When I washed it and spit it out, I didn't want to pin it because it's already kind of grown. I don't want it to be gigantic. I won't wear it if it's gigantic. I've lost a lot of weight. I don't want to wear like gigantic clothing. But it did straighten out. But now where I'm drying it, I just kind of stuck it over my, excuse me, my towel rack in the bathroom because I want it to get air from all angles. And it looks like it's kind of, I hope I wear it. I hope I can wear it. Then it's not too big and then it doesn't have this weird angle thing because it would be a real shame to have spent money and time on that and it not be wearable. But I will. Anyway, I said it before, I'll say it again. I will never knit with cotton chenille ever again.
Well, I know. So this is a project you're not going to be unknitting and reusing the yarn.
No, no, never. Okay, so I finished. Let me see. You'll have to tell me if you can see me because I've got myself in a very small screen here. And I finished my shawl that has no name yet. I've got to name this thing. You see it?
Yes. There you go. Perfect.
Or maybe I can.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's huge, right? It's, you know, nice and big. I love this will sit, it won't fall off. And because you and I do not like small shawls. Excuse my boobs. But yeah. So it takes one skein of variegated or whatever non-self-striping and then one skein of self-striping. And I created this because I love self-striping yarn and I don't always want to be knitting socks. And so I've talked about this before, like coming up with different ideas of how to use the self-striping and to maximize, you know, using as much of the skein as possible so that you really enjoy the striping. So I had these two. This is Cherie. God, I call her Cherie all the time. Kirby Werby Yarns. It's like I forgot the name of her business for a minute. And this was, she had dyed this for me years and years and years ago. Like in the, I don't know, 2013, 2014, called Bed of Roses.
Colorway, or what, just one of her regular ones?
Oh, this was, she made it for me, and I think she might have done the second one too.
Nice.
It's orange, red, and pink. And so it matched this other yarn, which is Allegria.
Manos?
Yes, Manos de Is it Manos
de
Allegria?
By Allegria, yep.
Where Allegria is the fingering weight.
They're tight.
Yeah, anyway, they have these beautiful, I don't know if it's Manos. Anyway, whatever. It's called Carnival, I think, this one, or Carnival. Anyway, I really like it, and I started knitting the striping portion when I was at your house in May for Maryland, and I tried different variations of it. I even tried like the edging changes on mine as you go along because I did the edging a certain way and then I wasn't happy with it, and then I switched it. So it really is a sample shawl. But I'm super happy with it. I'm going to take pictures soon and then I'll publish the pattern. And I need a name for it. So if you have any ideas for a name, let me know, because I don't know what to call it.
Call it Carnival.
Ooh, yeah, I will. Okay, that's a good idea. Yay, thank you. I like that. No, that's perfect because I like how you could, well, you know, I like to play with colors. I might knit another one. I really like it. I like that it, but I like that it's an easy pattern and you can, you know, it's a great on the go pattern. I love the size of it. And so we were talking about, you and I like a well-written pattern, and I didn't have my labels anymore. I mean, this one was easy to find online, but Cherie's, we were talking about, I was talking to her about this, and I said, well, how much was your yardage back then? And then I ended up finding this, I had put it in my Ravelry stash, which is surprising because I never put stuff in my stash anymore. And I found it, and then she said, well, it was really more than the label because I just rounded down a little bit to make sure that if I lost a few yards, I wasn't shorting people, right? I hope she doesn't mind that I'm saying this. But it was her being honest and wanting to make sure people had more than what it said on the label. And I don't know if there's like a specific number of yards that self-striping is usually. I should have looked in your stash. You have such like a store of self-striping yarn.
But I also have a lot of Cherie's self-striping yarn, and hers are like 465 or something. Hers come with a lot of yardage.
Yeah, so hers were 450, but they were really 462. So, but the label said 450, or they might have said 462 on the label, but in Ravelry it said 450, and that's what she said she had set it at because she wanted to make sure people had more than what. Like, she didn't want to say, okay, like it's 450. And you lose 2 yards and then the person doesn't have 450 because that's how honest she is. But she says now they're like 445 or they're just under 450. So I don't know like other dyers what they have. Anyway, I did the math. I weighed what I have left over, which is very little. And I think so I was talking to you about this the other day. I think I'm going to just describe, because I don't want to wait to knit another one to publish the pattern. So I think I'm just going to really explain to people, this is what I used for this. And if you have a smaller skein that doesn't have this much, then cast on this many stitches instead of this many stitches. It's just not going to make a big difference to the size of the shawl in the end. And it's the same thing with the main part, like the triangular part. Not the triangular, but like the non-striping part, you can just knit a few rows less if you don't have as much yardage. So I think I'm going to just explain it really well and work it that way. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. It worked out. I'm happier than I thought I would be with it.
Oh my God, I just had like an idea of like knitting.
Hang on. Ça va? My son. It's Nel Bonjour? No? Sur YouTube? The YouTuber. Doesn't want to be on YouTube, but he's anyway. That's a whole other conversation. Yeah, okay, what's your idea for knitting?
I'm taking a variegated from Knitty and Color, a Halloween colorway, and then taking a self-striping Halloween colorway from Cherie and putting them together.
I'll send you the pattern.
Okay.
You can test knit it for me. Because I was thinking of doing a Christmas one too.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love about this. It's fun. You get to play with it, and you can use your beautiful self-striping in different ways. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. What are you? I want to go. No, I won't bother grabbing it. Never mind. As you were. As you were. Did you finish anything? You haven't finished. Have you finished those socks yet? No, it's okay. I didn't mean it in a judgy way.
I know. I just feel like they should be done by now, but they're not. I actually put them aside. So we talked about that I pulled out the Bay Heaven cardigan. And then I cast
Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did last time.
Okay.
But I pulled it out. And then, so I started working on my comfort fade cardie also and decided I didn't like that. So I frogged the comfort fade cardie. I frogged the Bay Heaven cardigan. I just wasn't liking them. So then I started with my Into the World yarn, which is this yarn right here. This beautiful pink. And it has a little sock skein from Slip Stitch Studios.
Right.
But I was knitting Andrea Mowry's rose cardigan. And first of all, it was a huge debacle because row gauge was very important in this pattern because it goes by rows, not by inches. When she tells you to knit, she tells you to knit how many rows, not knit to a certain amount of inches. So it was very important to get the right gauge. So I restarted this. I would knit a gauge swatch. I would get close to gauge, and then I would start knitting it, and the gauge is off. And I couldn't understand what was going on. So finally, I found, after swatching, I did like 4 swatches, did like 5 different needles trying to get gauge on this thing. I finally found that a 2.5 inch needle worked, and I got gauge. So I started knitting it, and then I got like that far into it on the sleeve and realized that I just don't like reverse stockinette. I just don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. I think it hides the yarn. So I ended up frogging it. So all that time I spent on that cardigan, I think I worked on that thing for like 2-3 weeks, and I had to frog it. But that's all right, because I reused the yarn, and I'm knitting the Pomme de Pin cardigan again from Amy Christopher's.
Do you think that you will go back to that other cardigan, or and find like a different yarn, or you've just given up on that pattern?
No, I've just given up on that pattern. I just don't like the reverse stockinette. I think the only thing I would like the reverse stockinette in is if it was a solid color and not a variegated, because it really, like, I just like the stockinette side so much better. I think it shows off the yarn. So I'm knitting the Pomme de Pin cardigan from Amy Christopher's, which is this one right here. And
this is the one that you knitted back in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
2013.
This was my first sweater that I've ever knit, which was a mistake for a first sweater pattern. This is not sorry, I just dropped something. This is not a first sweater pattern for someone. Because I took such extensive notes with the first one, I haven't had any mishaps like I did the first time. I don't have any hangups yet. But reading the pattern, I'm so glad I took the notes to myself, or took notes so I could refer back to them, because I was reading the pattern and I was like, yeah, I would have never got that.
They were literally like note to self.
Yeah, note to self. So this is what I have so far. I have the ribbing.
Oh, it's so pretty. You know what? That was a really good decision you made, because that looks beautiful, and it looks a lot better than the other, when you were doing the other cardigan. This is a good choice. Yeah. You're going to love this.
This is the pine cone lace. I don't think you could see it with me behind
it. I see. I can see.
But there's the pine cone lace. And then I'm knitting this on size 6 signatures, which is what she suggested for the pattern. So the gauge is right.
You're brave. I have a cardigan pattern I want to do that has some lace in it. I'm just like,
no, this is super simple, because the way that it works, 3 rows of the pine cone lace are the same, and then the other 3 rows of the pine cone lace are different, but it's similar. So you only have to memorize 2 rows, because it repeats like row. You purl on the wrong side, because that's the back of the pattern. So rows 1, 3, and 5 are the same, and rows 7, 9, and 11 are the same.
I'd still have to have my paper with me. Like, I'd still have to have my pattern. I'm just thinking, like, it's not lunchtime knitting.
No, it's got a chart to it. I keep the chart open. I find myself that I use the chart when I go from the end of the chart to the beginning of the chart. I need to remember the first row. But once I get the first row done, then I could just turn it off and I remember.
Does it have written instructions as well, or just charted?
It does have written instructions, but the chart is only like that big. So it's a repeating down the whole
I'm just
row.
not a good chart knitter, so I like
I'm
when there's written instructions as well.
I have never knit from a chart.
Okay.
I'm always a written instruction person, but on this one, I found that the chart is easier to follow because it's so minimal. Like
Right.
It's so tiny of a chart, and the stitches are so easy. Like it's super easy to read.
I got distracted. What's on your nails? Show me your nails.
Oh my God, I'm getting them done tomorrow. They're like really grown out. They're still the teal.
I love them though. I've got I'm not.
You got galaxy nails. They're so
I did.
cool.
Yes. And next time I'm doing fluorescent like highlighters, because she's got highlighter colors with sparkles in them. So I'm gonna do that.
I think I'm gonna do like neon yellow.
Yes. See, we'll match. There you go. Anyway, sorry. I tend to move from one thing to the other. Okay. So yeah, it looks really good. So is that knit from the bottom up, and it's a cardigan? So is it like, do you do the whole sort of thing until up to the sleeves, or?
Yeah, your knit. It says on the let me see what it says on the pattern notes in Ravelry, because I don't want to give so much away. So it is meant to be worn with positive ease. So like for me, I'm a 36, but it's actually 39. It's knit from. It's worked in one piece to the underarms, then the fronts and backs are divided and worked separately to the shoulders.
Right.
So
and then you have to graft the shoulders, I guess.
And it has set-in sleeves. So you knit the sleeves separately and you set them in.
Right.
Now,
oh,
my seaming.
Piecing that in. You could say, go on.
So my seaming skills are non-existent. That's why that Mazzy cardigan that I knit, which you probably don't even remember, but I still have the Mazzy cardigan and it's in pieces because it also has set-in sleeves. So what I did was I went on Blueprint, which is Craftsy. It's Craftsy rebranded into Blueprint. $7.99 a month, and you have access to all of their classes. And they have tons of classes. Yes. And they have tons of classes on knitting and crochet and spinning. And you get access to all of them. And they have like 3 of them on grafting and seaming. So I'm going to watch those and try to put them. I'm going to have to, because I think when I seam these the first time, I whip stitched them on. Like I just kind of sewed them on my own way, and it came out fine, but it wasn't right. Like it didn't have like the nice, like when you graft something together, it looks like you add a stitch in there. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. When you graft something, I didn't have that. Mine were just like the sleeves were like really harshly set.
You might want to look on, excuse me, on YouTube as well. There's probably videos on grafting sleeves, and I know it's not my favorite thing, especially when your sweater is. Are you setting them in before or after you graft the shoulders?
You set them in when all is said and done. Okay. After you graft the shoulders up here, when you sew the pieces together, then you set the sleeves in. And then the collar is set in too. So you knit this collar, and then, so what happened to me the first time I knit this pattern.
Why wouldn't you just like pick up stitches around the edge and knit the collar out?
Because it has a collar that's like up, like that kind of like comes up. So I don't know, but she has you knit the collar, and then the collar has to be sewn down into the back of it. So when I knit the sweater the first time, I'm hoping this doesn't happen to me again. When I knit the front panel and the 2 front panels, one front panel was like way longer than the other panel. Right. So when I stitched them together, I had like bunching, going on. So I'm hoping that that doesn't happen this time. And when I knit the sides, that they'll be like the same.
Yeah. And then are the sleeves lacy or plain?
The sleeves are the same pine cone lace. They're gorgeous. Okay.
And that's why you can't knit them in the round.
No. And then they go from cup up, I believe. And then you knit the shoulder cap back and forth.
All right. Well, have fun with that.
Yeah, right.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Well, you know, Primrose
I think
Yarn
you're very
Co.
brave, and you're so hard on yourself. Like you always think you can't do it, but you're choosing these patterns. Like I would, I mean, I think you're brave, and I know you've got it, and you'll be able to do it. And I think it's fantastic. I just, gosh, I wish, yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
Well, Primrose Yarn Company is doing a Pond Pin Rhinebeck knit along because they're going to do the Rhinebeck, but you have to have it knit out of her yarn for it to be like, so I'm not knitting it out of her yarn, but I'm hoping she makes like a forum or something so that people can post in like, because I looked at people's project notes for this sweater and nobody has any. And I know this sweater is not clear. Like it's not that it's not clear, but I know that it's not as simple, like especially when it gets to the decreasing and lace portion.
Yeah.
But no one wrote notes. So I'm hoping that she creates a forum or something and people can like write in there and help each other out if they need it.
Yeah.
Because I need it. I need the help.
Well, I think it looks gorgeous. I love that combination. I love that yarn on that sweater. That's really pretty. I hope you finally have a sweater that you wear.
I know. I love it. And then it's so funny because it's like beautiful and it matches my hair, which is why I chose it. And then my hair purple. That's okay.
I was going to do my lavender too. So I've been doing, since I got it chopped off, I've been just doing it blonde. And then the last time, a few weeks ago when I got it done, he did this sort of lavender silvery thing. But what happens is it's the color fades really quickly. And then I end up with this just kind of like, it's not blonde. Yeah, exactly, that I don't love. But I have some of that, I can't remember the color, what it's called, but they're these tubes and of like color, but they're not like dye. So anyway,
like a conditioner maybe, right? With overtone?
No, I don't know. Anyway, I've got a lavender one and I've got a blue one. So I'm going to do the lavender today and just put it in. But it's funny because he had told me, oh, put it in 10 minutes. When I tried it last year, it needed to stay like half an hour in my hair so that it wouldn't just wash out. So I think I'm going to do that today and get some lavender. So we really are going to be matchy.
Hell yeah.
All right.
So what else do you have?
So I have cast on a sweater. I'm excited now that I finished that shawl. I'm still working on my chevron pattern as well. So I've picked that back up again. The pattern's written. I just want to finish the shawl so that I can, put it out there. So I have cast on the Camaro, which is by, I forgot. Oh, Tana's Fiber Arts.
Oh, okay.
And it's that sweater, I've shown it before, where there's like the different colors go into like a V in the front. It's a V-neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the colors that she made the sweater in. So, sometimes you're attracted to how they made it, right? Not just the sweater.
Yeah, looking this up on Ravelry. Camaro. I typed in Camaro and it changed it to Camarillo.
What is a Camarillo?
I don't even know. Here's the sweater. Let me get this full screen.
Yeah. I just love those colors, that combination.
Yeah, I do too. This is really nice.
So
we talked about last night that the neckline is ribbed. I don't see any ribbing on this one.
Yeah, so this is what's happening with me is the edge. It's basically you cast on at the neck and then you just start knitting. And my edge is curling.
So do you think that it'll block out?
Well, I don't know. I certainly hope so. I don't necessarily want to wear it like this because I'm losing this entire top stripe that I made. I'm kind of losing to the curl, right? Yeah. And so I went on the page and I reread the pattern. I must have reread the pattern like 10 times thinking, am I missing something? I started looking through project pages and comments. There are some comments that people find it's not well written, a lot of people having to make like changes to it. And I've already cast on the size that matches my bust. I wasn't looking for like a positive ease, so I went with the size that, that's around my bust size. And after doing all of this, read that a lot of people find that their sweater is huge. And then she's got in the notes on the project page, I should have read it first, but I just went to the pattern and read the pattern, that, you might want to choose, like, you might want to size under, like choose a smaller size, because a lot of people are finding that the sweater is too big for them. So I don't know. I don't want to restart it. I'm hoping it'll just be fine, because I tend to be a tight knitter. So, I frogged my swan show. Remember I messaged you and I was like, what's not fun? Frogging color work. Yeah, it's not fun. So anyway, I decided to use the same yarn. So this color here is going to be the body of the sweater, like the whole bottom part is going to be this stuff, which is
really pretty.
Yeah, I think that's Manos del Uruguay. It's a DK, the single. I've had that yarn for ages. And then I'm using the pink. I've got my forest green, and I've just started on the purple stripe. And this is something that was sitting on the couch, and I was like, oh, I looked over and I thought, oh, this is DK. I can totally put this in here too. I had a hat made out of this, and then there was a hole in it. So I frogged it because I thought, well, I'll reuse the yarn, and it's very pretty.
Yeah, it is.
So it's also a single to DK. It's a Canadian dyer that I bought this years and years and years ago, and I only had one skein, so I'd made a hat out of it. But when I was looking at it, I thought, wait, it matches perfectly. So, because it's got
whole color combination looks so good together. Like,
yeah,
it's really pretty.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it, because the blue one that I just picked up last night and added to it has forest green in it too. It's got like pinks and purples and forest green in it, so it's perfect. So, yeah, I've got it's been a pretty fast knit. I did this yesterday. I also went to the gym yesterday. I did other stuff. Yeah.
It's great.
I might have
been
cast
working on this for days.
I think I cast on Friday. I can't remember when I messaged you. I must have messaged you Friday to say frogging color work is not fun.
Yeah, you did.
I did have to restart it once. I had only done a few rows and I realized I'd made a mistake. But I'm almost done the what's it called, the yoke. I'm just having to write down row by row, because you have to change your stripes. I had to figure out how I wanted to stripe. I just decided to do like 9 stitches each, because she has, in the 2 sweaters that she refers to in her pattern, her stripe combinations are 72 rows, or I think the other one's 70 something as well. So you can play around with it and do your own thing, which means then you have to think about it, figure out what you're doing. So I think I'm just going to do 2 rows each of these 4 colors, and then go back to the base and see how it goes. Hopefully it's not ginormous. Yeah. And yeah, so anyway, so back to the neck edge. I posted in her group the question, because as I was seeing other people's projects, a lot of people in the projects had this ribbed edge. And I'm like, am I misreading this pattern? I cannot find, I'm reading from the beginning. It's not knitted in the, when you start. I think it would be easy to start with like a few ribbed rows. and then it's not at the end, you don't go back and pick up stitches or anything. And then I started reading project pages, and people were saying that, it's a modification that people have done. And then when you look at her, like the close-up of her picture, like the one that you just showed, you can see that her neckline rolls a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
So it's not finished as per the pattern. It's not a finished edge, which I find interesting. I don't know if it will roll less. I don't know. In my experience, things don't roll much less after you block them.
No, they don't. They still roll.
So I don't know. I'll see what people say. If anybody responds to my question, maybe people will make suggestions. Maybe I'll have to pick up the edge when I'm done and add some ribbing. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah. And I haven't been spinning, so that's about it. Finished that shawl, blocked it, working on my chevron, and cast on the sweater, which is exciting because I've been wanting to get a sweater going. I need to get back to my bags too. I haven't made any bags in a while, and I want to get those Halloween ones out, so I might work on that today.
Well, I did some spinning.
Yeah?
LCB decided to make a Tour de Fleece team at the very end, the very last minute, and I decided to join, and I don't know what happened. So I have a very overspun, like it looks okay, like this looks okay, but
I
like
love the colors.
It's called Candy Mountain, and it's just really, I don't know, maybe my tension was too high. I tried to spin fingering. This is once again not fingering. I don't know what I have to do to get a fingering weight yarn. I am at my wit's end because I swear that I'm spinning as thin as I could possibly spin, and it's still coming out to be plumpy. This is only like 150 yards out of 4 ounces. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just not. And I decided to look at one of those craftsy classes on Blueprint, and it's spinning woolen to worsted, and I realized that I am doing a short forward or a short backwards draw. Should still give me the right type of yarn. But this one I was having a really hard time with it overspinning and being kinky. I thought it would ply out, but it didn't ply out. So
I think that I am not an expert, so I might be wrong, but I don't think the way you draw has anything to do with, like, I remember watching the Knit Girls once, and Laura explained woolen versus worsted, and it was the first time I actually understood. And it was, but now of course I can't remember, but it was this thing where it explained it's not about like how you physically do the spinning. It's really more about how you're feeding the fiber. So there's a way where when you're feeding it, like when you work from an art bat and the fibers are going every which way, it gives you, I don't want to say the wrong thing. There's one way where your fiber is, if the fiber is all going in the same direction, then it's heavier. Like it might be the same size, like your ply might be the same circumference, right? But one way there's actually more fiber in it than the other way. I think it is when you're like, if you're spinning from an art bat and the fibers are going in every which way, then that might be, I don't remember if that's the woolen or the worsted, but it basically, you will have the same size of ply, but you have less fiber going into it, and it's more like full and lofty. Whereas the other way, you have more fiber in it, and it's more compact and heavier. So when you have the one where you have less fiber in it, then it goes a longer way than when you have more fiber in the ply, because then it's going to be shorter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I just don't remember which one was which, but I think you know that for spinning thinner, You have to go to that smallest whirl, right?
Smallest whirl.
Yeah.
Because I'm on like I'm on the small whirl, but I'm on the bigger setting on the small whirl, and it's given me this. So I think right now I'm working on knitting color.
Because you need more twist in that thinner yarn, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try after I'm done with the Ain't It Fun colorway by Knitty Color. Then I'm gonna try the smaller whirl because I already started it.
You also might want to get a card. I have one. I still have to print it off, but so maybe I can find that and send you the link to it. But there's a thing you can print off, and it's like remember I was looking for one at Maryland? I wanted like a plastic card that you can put your ply against and see.
And it tells you
the size of the the thickness of the ply that you need in order to create, this type of yarn.
You know,
so that as you're spinning, you can.
There's an app for that.
Is there?
Called the Spinner's Toolkit. It's on the iPhone. It has it. It puts it up on your phone.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll have to look at that.
I'll have to look more into it, and then maybe we could talk about it next time.
Yeah, because I think that might help. I want to go. I'm doing the reverse as you. I would like to spin. I'd love to spin a quantity's worth of worsted yarn.
Oh, I don't even know if I could spin worsted now.
But I need to know what that ply looks like in order to spin the worsted. Otherwise, I'm just going to be like moving target. I don't know what the hell I'll be doing because I can't seem to spin anything other than fingering weight now. And so what I was going to tell you is, for me, I find that to make fingering weight, your ply has to be very thin. Like you might think, oh, I can't go thinner than this. It's going to be too thin. But no, your ply is almost like a lace. Well, it is a lace weight. So if you think of like lace, that's how thin your ply has to be in order to make the fingering weight when you ply them together.
Well, I feel like I'm going backwards because this one that I did, it's still not fingering weight, but I got more yardage, and this is plumper than this. So like now I'm going and spinning thicker. Like, I don't know.
But like you said, if you overspun it too, then that would shorten your total length. But
yeah, you're right. That's probably what happened because it is really overspun. So I don't know if it can be saved. I'm gonna give it a bath and see what happens. But I'm getting better. Like I feel like my spinning is more fluid. So.
Yeah, and you might be able to get a hat out of that or something. I don't know, something fun.
Yeah, something fun. Maybe
or save it and at some point mix it up with something else. But you don't like to do that.
We'll see.
You give it to me.
I might just be like, here, I spun this. Here, I spun this.
All right.
You have anything
so that's no.
Neither do I.
We managed to talk for a long time though. Yeah, I want to get some bags done today. I've been so busy at work and with my energy work that the bags have taken aside.
That's okay. You'll get back into it.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm excited to see your pomme de pain move along.
Me too. I mean, it's a fun knit.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that you had it done already because now you can enjoy it this time. And hopefully actually wear it. It'd be great. Do you think what size did you make? I meant to ask you that. When you made it the first time, what size did you make?
The first time I made it, the first time I made it, and I made it. The first
new
time
verb.
I made it, I knit the same size, but I used DK weight yarn instead of a sport weight yarn that the pattern calls for sport weight. So when it opened up, it was huge.
Oh, okay.
And so was Cherie we knit it together, and hers was like for a man.
And she did a DK as well?
Yeah, we both did DK. Yep. And it came out, bloomed and opened, and it was.
Why did you do that?
Because we couldn't find sport weight yarn. Sport weight yarn was not like a thing.
It is still we've talked about this before. It's hard to find sport weight yarn that's like indie dyed. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
I wish somebody would explain that to me. I don't get it, because there's so many items of clothing are designed with sport weight. It's really hard to find indie dyed sport weight yarn.
I know that what is her name? La Bien-Aimée.
Mm-hmm.
And also Primrose Yarn Co. has a lot of them on her site. So it's starting to, Into the World had some. So it's starting to get out there more as these patterns that are using, these popular patterns that are using sport weight yarn are coming out. So now people are starting to carry it more, but back in the day.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
All right. Well,
okay. Yeah, we'll end it there, I guess, and then we'll
catch up next time.
Record again in a couple weeks, whenever it feels good.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.